Hey guys, and welcome back to ArxangelRC. Today I am really excited to show you a new copter. You may think, looking at these flips, that it's a brushless model, but in fact it is not. It is a brushed copter, and it is the first one I've had or flown that has thrust in abundance, and when you punch the throttle you really feel like you punch the throttle. It doesn't just feel like it's going to die any second like the QX80 for instance. This is actually the E-90X from GearBest. Purchase link in the description. I got the ready to fly version with the Devo 7E already flashed with the deviation firmware. It's DSM2 receiver in there, and it's an amazing copter. It's a carbon frame, super light, big motors, camera is pretty good, video transmitter I think it's 250 milliwatts, nice linear antenna, and it looks good, it's built good, it's really good. It comes with a 1S 500 milliamp elongated battery pack. Actually you can get spare ones from Gensace, that the 2 series, they have a 600 milliamp long one, works perfectly with this. Comes with a set of prop guards. However, as I quickly found out, those are good for indoor use and not for quick flights, but not very good for outdoor users. That flip actually broke 3 of them, so I threw them out. You get a set of spare props in addition to the ones that come on the copter. Rubber rings that are supposed to be used to mount the battery on, although I never really found out how to get them across the frame so I can hold the battery with them. And you get a battery, but fun fact, you don't get a charger. Now this is one of those micro Molex connectors or something. I had chargers with that connector anyway, so it wasn't an issue for me. So moving on to flight, indoor flight with the prop guards on is pleasant, and actually the flight controller is some version of NAS 32 board. Doesn't support Betaflight, but it does have Clean Flight on it, and actually does fly pretty good. Now out of the box this thing has angle and horizon modes. This is the angle mode, and it is actually working pretty damn good. For indoor flying this is the perfect mode. The horizon one is a bit aggressive for me. And with the prop guards on, you can really get into stuff. And keep in mind, this is a 90mm copter, and it's a lot bigger, for instance, than the Pokey or the Inductrix. And I fly at about the same speed around my apartment. And it feels good in the angle mode. It feels good, it feels controllable. It has angle limits that are a bit shallower than you normally get by default. So something has been done to configure this. It's not just flash clean flight and you know, whatever happens. Really stable flight, and like I said, the prop guards really do help in a lot of these situations, bumping into walls, bumping into glass cabinets, vacuum cleaners, whatever. So this actually came already paired with the radio. I did not have to do any bindings. I just switched on both units and started flying. The left switch arms the copter, the right switch changes between angle and horizon mode, and you know, it's actually pretty easy to get used to this. It flies so well in the angle mode, and actually I replaced the horizon mode with the air mode, but more on that later. The PIDs could use a bit more tuning, especially when flying without the prop guards, because with the prop guards it's heavier and doesn't shake as much. Without the prop guards I see that little shaking, and I would really like to get rid of that. I'm not sure if it's because the camera is loose or the PIDs need a bit more tuning, but I'll get into that. But like I said, it's a 90mm model, but you can easily get around into stuff with confidence because of the prop guards, and they really do work until you break them. Now here's an outdoor flight in front of my building, and I was actually pleasantly surprised to see how fast this thing can be. I seriously thought the QX80 was fast, but that doesn't even have enough thrust, not quite as much as this thing. This thing is insane. It's like a brushless model, but you know, with brushed motors. You just punch it and it flies off, and it flies off good. You can see the speed. You know, at that speed, this yard is small for that copter. I felt a bit nervous flying around here. And not only that, flies so much better than the QX80 with Betaflight on. And I don't know what to tell you, this has to be the best brushed model I've seen. I'm not counting the Pokey, because that is too small, has integrated prop guards, and you can literally use it only indoors. Now, of course, when you don't see exactly where you're flying, or you know, miscalculate, you tend to crash. But even with so many crashes in the snow, let it dry and it's still perfectly fine. And this is an example of the air mode. No stabilization, and it's perfect. Some PID tuning will be needed, but it has more than enough thrust, and I seriously love how this thing flies. I mean, never have I thought I'm gonna see a brushed model that flies quite like this and has quite as much thrust. I've always asked myself, why? Why is it so difficult for a brushed motor to have thrust? You know, when you punch it, you'd feel like you've punched it. And this thing does that. And it's like $100 and something with Devo, and 62 or 63 bind and fly. And I think that's a real bargain, considering the QX series are more expensive. They don't come with a receiver, and they don't have nearly as much thrust, and are not nearly as much fun as this thing. So yeah, totally worth it from my standpoint and from my experience with the models I've had so far, and I do recommend it. A few of my friends have already expressed a serious interest in it, and a few of them actually asked me if I'm going to sell it. So I'm probably not, because it flies amazingly and I want to fly it as much as I can. And you can see this is a bit of flying in air mode. It does get around quickly, and it does have thrust to spare, unlike the QX80. One thing you have to keep in mind in the code though, batteries, 1S batteries do tend to freeze pretty quickly, so watch out for that, because voltage will drop and the copter will drop, and you will have to dry it all over again. So that concludes my review. I hope I've been helpful. I love this model, and I love the Devil 7E. I'm gonna try to get more models bound to that one, and probably get one of those 4-in-1 modules, so I can fly a lot of stuff with it. So I hope you liked it, and I will see you soon.